Is doing 500 plus lead code questions worth it? Yeah, we'll see by the end of this video. Today, I'm gonna go through like all the lead code questions that I solved. Well, I guess I won't go through all the lead code questions I solved. I'll just like skim over the different categories that I covered. I solved 500 15 lead code questions. This puts me at like the 109K. Um, and also the 99.2% of, or yeah, the top 1% of coders. And yeah, let's just dig into my LeetCode account and figure out what did I do with all this time. Um, let's just calculate. Let's calculate how long we think that would have taken me. Because at the end of this video, we need to see you need to know that if you should also do 500 legal questions, basically. So how long would that take you? Let's start. Let's say 515. Or I already have a. I mean, I was gonna say 515 questions times 30 minutes, but honestly, there's rarely a question that will only take you 30 minutes, especially if you're just doing it by yourself. I say on average, well, you should be able to do a question 30 minutes for an interview. Um, because the interview is like an hour max, and most interviews they'll expect you to either solve completely different questions, or like a three-part question. Um, yeah, let's just say each one takes about 45 minutes. That's like, so that it takes about that many minutes to solve all my leak code questions. 23,000 minutes I've been spending on leak code divided by, that's minutes, divided by 60 minutes, that's an hour. Um, and then divided by 24. Yeah, that's the right math. It's a little late night for me. I'm a little tipsy, so that's pretty much 16 days worth of leak coding. That's how much time I spent leak coding. 16 days. So I would say probably between 16 to 22 days of straight leak coding. So if you wanted to go like a whole month leak coding and not sleeping, you could probably do just as much questions. Um, yeah, 26 16 days is not much. I put up 40 days of play, or sorry, 16 days is not a lot. I put in like 40 days of playing time on COD in just 1 year. 1 year, I put in that many hours. Um, yeah, you could see I have a bit of an addictive personality. Like when I've done 515 questions, but like I spammed them over just like very short periods of time. I'll literally show you that in this other view. This other view. Um, let's see. Yep. So solve 515 problems. I'm top 1%. Let's see. Let's look at the month over month view, and you could see that like I don't really. Let's start when I first started doing LeetCode in 2019. This is just when I was just like, I don't even know. I just decided to do a few LeetCode questions. I probably was just being introduced to LeetCode in 2019. I did about three questions. In 2020, you could see that I started to like ramp up. This was around like, yeah, it was it was starting to become like recruiting season for internships and stuff like that. So you can see I slowly ramped up my lead code, and wow, in that month of December I did over 100 questions. So yeah, did about 300 lead code questions in 2020, and mostly mediums. I really just hopped into mediums right away because I already had a computer science degree. So I learned a lot of the basics. So easy questions, like it wasn't like I didn't really need to get into easy questions. I just started off with mediums right away. Um, but if you're just starting lead code, just do easy questions. If you don't have a degree, or if you haven't done algorithms before, just start easy questions. They're pretty good. I just find them just like, I don't know. Honestly, mediums I learned the most. Let's go to 2021. Here, 2021, I did another. Wow. So in just December, I did over 100 here. But in 2021, I almost did 200 in the month of January. That's crazy. So yeah, you could see that I only like do bursts of leak code. I kind of like tweak out for a couple of months, a few months, and then I go like long like periods where I don't do leak code. I pretty much only had to do go through two separate leak code grinds. Before I graduated college, I went on a leak code grind that was about 3 months. And then I spent about 3 years working at another company. And then when I decided to switch, I had to do another 3 months of leak code grind. So probably just 6 months of leak code grinding in general. Um, yeah, leak code grinds, you have to be prepared for leak code grinds. Like you just gotta when you know you're about to go for a leak code grind, stock up the fridge, bring out some diapers, um, buy like yeah, you're good. Leak code grinds. Anyone, if y'all been through it, y'all been through it. Let's see. Cool. Let's just dive into some of like the subjects. Like this leak code is beautiful now. Um, yeah, see, I solve mostly easy or mostly medium and hard questions. I did about 350 medium and hard questions and only 148 easy questions. Let's see, which is still quite a lot. Honestly, I want to do more easy questions. You learn a lot in the easy questions, and I want to do more hard questions. I want to even these out. Acceptance rate, I don't really care about that. Okay, so let's look at what we have here. This is like the graph of all of the different subjects that you'll learn, and I'll quickly like go over, or I'll quickly like hover over the subject and give you a brief definition of like what that subject is and what's like included in those questions, and even if they're asked in interviews. So let's just go top to bottom here. Top to bottom, left to right. Greedy questions. These are tough. Like the hardest part is figuring out if the question is gonna be greedy or not. There's so much questions that that I over like greedy kind of means that you just take the most optimal step you take the most optimal path that you see right now. It's like somebody who doesn't think 10 years ahead. Pretend that you could only that all you have to look at is like what is the best decision I can make right now and just continuously do that to lead to the most optimal outcome. That's like there's barely any problems where you can do that. Like in life, you definitely have to think a few steps ahead. You can't just take the most optimal choice for you right away. But yeah, that's what greedy is, and identifying if you can solve a problem greedily is like, I don't know. I find it pretty hard. 2 pointers, yeah, these are classic. Like when you have you these are usually array questions, and it usually involves like having 1 pointer and having 2 pointers in different elements of the array, and like either sliding it, or like moving like a rolling, or like yeah, or just comparing them in like a funny way. Like you just like figure out you just point two different pointers at two different indexes, and you do all types of algorithms. There's 209 different ways to do that. String questions, these are just dealing with like strings. This is a pretty general subject. There's a lot of string questions, honestly. Arrays, any array question could be a string question, and or a lot of array questions could be a string question and vice versa. So you if you get down arrays, you get down strings, you get down like a lot of different questions. Like the main subjects to study would be like arrays, trees, strings, and then probably binary search and dynamic programming. Actually, there's a lot, honestly. Bit manipulation. If you only have a week of studying, do not study this. Like this has never been asked in an interview ever. I just study it because I'm paranoid. Bit manipulation, I don't see much. Binary search. That's what I'm saying. These are really good. Like I did 23 binary search questions. I think really binary search, you need to you just need to like spend a day just doing as many binary search questions as you can, and then you would have seen them all. Like there's only so many ways you could binary search, but and you would think that it's simple, but making a binary search with no bugs is actually pretty hard. Like c- especially when you're like working with the boundaries. Are you gonna plus one? Are you gonna minus one? There's like so much different things that could go wrong with the boundaries and like edge cases. Array, classic, like I said, string and array, very classic. You see, I did 163 questions related to array. They're still not my strongest. Tree questions, classic. Yeah, like traversing a tree, depth first search, breadth first search. Yeah. Divide and conquer. These algorithms I actually never really did much in interviews. So I barely did any questions. They're kind of like bit manipulation. Like if you don't have much time, don't study this question. But I should probably do more divide and conquer questions. But I think only like Meta will ask you that. Matrix. Yep. So these are like work all like these are working with arrays, but like two-dimensional arrays. That's what a matrix is. Hash tables, like this is classic. You should always like be thinking of a hash. I mean, you shouldn't always be thinking of a hash table, but if you really want to optimize something and they're saying O of one complexity, then really just start thinking of hash table at that point. Sliding window. This is kind of like two pointers, but like, yeah, this is kind of, but it's a very specific technique where you like grow a window and then you shrink it to meet constraints. Then you grow it until it breaks the constraint. Like, yeah, tries and prefix trees. Tries and prefix trees. Those are like when you want to solve questions like build an autocomplete system. What's the like what's the cheapest and most efficient way to store a dictionary? Like those are the type of questions you solve with tries. Let's see. Shoot, I said I was gonna go left to right, but I started going in the middle right away. Topological sort. Yep. This is like I noticed a lot of San Francisco companies like to ask topological sort. I got asked that in so many different interviews. And yeah, definitely learned that one. One of my favorite lead code questions is course schedule, alien dictionary. Yeah, these are three of my favorite ones. Let's see what else. String matching, reservoir sampling. Those that question and like the pigeonhole questions. Those ones are like some of the hardest questions I have to do on LeetCode. So I honestly I've never been asked a reservoir sampling. I think they ask it at Meta also. Like they just those that company asks the weird ones. Um, but yeah, shortest path algorithms. This is like Dijkstra's and Bellman Ford. You should definitely know how to do these questions. You kind of learn like in a computer science degree, you'll study Dijkstra's and stuff, but only in only a few leak code questions have I actually had to implement it. What else do we have? Shortest path. Yep, linked list, classic reverse a linked list for a $500,000 job, and then you fail it. Don't be that person. Spend like literally a whole week doing every single link list question, and like for 500K, I'll be able to reverse a link list and back. Concurrency, what's it called? I don't know. That's more like what is concurrency? Um, Yeah, concurrency is just like the multi-threaded questions. I've never been asked that in a like my one of my friends who interviewed at LinkedIn got asked these concurrency questions. Like it's all company dependent. But I think if you just know your basics like arrays, strings, hash tables, sorting, trees, have those basics very solid, and then branch out into these super niche ones like bit manipulation. So yeah, I think yeah, prefix sum, that's also really important. But I think this video is getting so long, so I'll just probably end the video with like some what I would do different if I were to do, or like how I would, yeah, how would I would train myself up if I were to start lead coding for the first time. I would say if I were just beginning my LeetCode journey, I'd really focus on the fundamentals and the basics. Really getting arrays down, be really comfortable with navigating arrays, looping through arrays, forwards, backwards, um, by two, by three, like all the different array operations. And that should also give you a lot of context on the string operations as well, because a lot of them are like a string is just an array of letters. So a lot of the techniques overlap. And then really understanding my sorting, understanding like simple data structures like trees. And then once you really have that, then start branching off a little bit into more like complicated things like breadth first search, depth first search, greedy algorithm, dynamic programming, backtracking. Those are all stuff you should do after you like know you have the basics. And then after that, like all like Union Find, where is that? Yeah, Union Find, Bellman Ford, minimum spanning tree, um, heaps, yeah, tree maps, all those things, very like more advanced topics. Only solve that maybe after you've already done like 300 LeetCode questions, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what it takes, or what, yeah, that's the breakdown of like the 515 LeetCode questions that I did. So cool. See ya.